So please excuse the hideous leggings. I've just got back from walking the boys. I thought it's a while since I've done any exercises with Wynn and videoed them. So I thought what I would do is video a little bit what the developments have been since the last set of exercises you've seen. So at the last set of exercises, she was able to put one of her back legs up on the object here with the aim of getting her to balance on her 3 other legs. We've also done the front leg paw lifts as well to try and get her to balance on those 3 legs. So what we're going to do is just have a quick recap of that for her. Good. Oh, nearly. Good. So what I want her to do is be in a relatively stable position and controlling that movement. Good girl. Good girl. And sustaining that position. Good girl. So if we switch round, excuse the leggings. Good. Oopsie. Nice try. Good. Oopsie. Oopsie. Oh, I know. Come here. Good girl. Yeah. Yes. Good. 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 Well done. Good. Good. So she finds it slightly harder to balance on her left hind than she does to balance on her right hind. So we will look at that in a minute when I ask her to do an adaptation of one of the exercises that we've already started doing. Just to again recap for her, we're going to do some front paw lifts on a. Excuse me, Poppet. We're going to do some front paw lifts on a stable, straight platform. So this is just a contact trainer, which I happen to have for training contacts, surprisingly. But it helps them keep themselves straight and still. I'm just going to adjust that so that you can see. I know, Poppet. Just so that you can see her back legs while she's doing it as well. Okay, good girlie. We get all of you on? Magic, good skills. Oopsie. Where's that little back leg? Yes, good. Now, move it straight. That's it, good. Good. So I'm looking for her to be able to balance herself relatively stably. So she's not putting a lot of weight through this paw. Doesn't really have to be particularly high. Good girl. But what I want is for her to be in a nice, solid, stable position with a neutral back position. Good girl. Good girl. Try the other leg. Get the hands sorted out. Can we do? There we go. That's it. Good girl. So we're looking for yoga type, Pilates type control. So I don't want her flipping around all over the place. I want her thinking about where her feet are and able, ouchie, that's my finger, and able to balance herself on those 3 legs. Good girl. So now that she can do that reasonably well, I'm going to start using some unstable equipment with her. I want her to still have really good control over her arms and legs though. I don't really ever want her to practice uncontrolled movement, because that's not what I ever want from her. I don't ever want her using uncontrolled movement when she's doing agility or any of the other things that she does, just being a dog. I don't want good. So this is only the 2nd time she's been on these balance pads. So these are balance pads. These ones are from Fit Paws, but there are alternatives. But these ones are pretty old and they've stood up pretty well. Oops, wrong foot, that foot. Good girl. So she can balance herself pretty well on this moderately unstable platform. Good girl. Good girl. So you can see she's moved her back legs apart a little bit to give herself a slightly wider base. So she's still, so she's still having to work a bit harder on this surface, ouchie, that's my finger, than she is on the flat floor. So she's not ready to move on to anything more unstable than these balance pads. I need to work on her doing her rear leg lifts on this surface before we move on to anything more unstable. She's only 8 months old, so this is sufficient really for her age. If I wanted to increase what I'm asking her to do, I might get her to do some dynamic movements on the, good girlie, on the foam pads. So before we do that, good girl, I know, you're trying everything. Before we do that, I'll remind her of the exercise on the flat floor. So maybe we'll try some down, stand, good girl. I know that's not a great camera angle. Down, good girl, stand. And then we'll transfer it onto the slightly unstable surface. Good girl, down, clever. And you can see that she's reverted back to going head first, bottom follows on the slightly unstable surface. Whereas if we move it over to the, good girl, onto the stable, no, I know you're trying very hard. If we move it onto the stable surface, you can see, I know the camera angle's not great, but you can see that her body is moving more together, good, on the stable surface than it is on the unstable surface. So that tells me that she's probably ready to start doing down to stand and some more dynamic movements on the unstable surface, but she's not ready to move on to anything particularly wobbly. I feel that it's really important that the dogs are always moving in a thoughtful and controlled manner rather than wobbling around all over the place. If I want them to engage their stabilising muscles, those small stabilising muscles around the joints, then they need to be able to engage those in a controlled manner. If they're wobbling around on a really unstable surface, then they're not doing what we think they're doing. So, slight progression from the exercises that she was doing a few weeks ago, and hopefully over the next few weeks, while we're in lockdown again, I will have enough time to show you some more of her progress.